Welcome to Twins Coast to Coast Mirror Image MS Madness podcast. We are identical twins, Tamara and Terry, living with multiple sclerosis. We are MS advocates who hope to shine a light on our experience to enhance others' understanding of living with a chronic illness. Our podcast is unique, informative, and we hope inspirational. Image Madness podcast. We are so delighted today to have our guest, Tyler Campbell, who is a inspirational speaker. He's also an MS warrior, and we'd love to hear his story. Welcome, Tyler. Thank you so much for being on our podcast today.
Hey, ladies, it is an absolute joy, a plum-pleasing pleasure. I am hippo happy, giraffe giddy, and peacock proud today. It is a joy to visit with y'all.
Yes, we are so happy. This is Terry, and everybody, you're in for a treat. If you don't already know, Tyler Campbell is a wonderful motivational speaker who is out and about with his radio shows and all around the country, speaking his wonderful joy about motivational and how you can get out there and be successful. So, Tyler, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely introverted by nature, ladies. What I'm doing now is not what I sought out. And sometimes MS has a way of kind of having us to not forget about our dreams, but just find a new approach to them. Your dreams don't die with this disease. You just figure out how to do things a little bit differently. And I'm a native Texan. I'm a diehard Texan, lady. I'm from this state of Texas, and I wear it proudly on my chest, just like everybody else. But I'm somebody who graduated from San Diego State University. Married a California woman, so California is very much rooted in my veins, y'all. I love California too.
Well, San Diego State is such a beautiful campus, and how impressive that you played Division I football for San Diego State University and continue doing it after your diagnosis with multiple sclerosis. Tell us a little bit about the history of your dad playing football and how that influenced you and what it felt like after you were diagnosed with MS.
Yeah, absolutely. Like any boy, like I wanted to follow in my father's footsteps. And from early on, I thought that was what I was supposed to do. You're supposed to play football, get an education. And so that's what I was doing. And it landed me at San Diego State University. I was 21 years old. During my junior year, I was diagnosed with MS, and it came like a thief in the night, like it does for so many of us. There's no forewarning. It hit. And, first one in my family to be diagnosed with it. As a Black male within our community, that wasn't the conversation. I knew, sickle cell, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. So MS was a learning curve for everybody, which made things even more difficult because you're battling a disease, and then you have to explain a disease, and then you don't have answers to everybody's questions about a disease. So it became very, very overwhelming with that diagnosis. But my dad was an NFL Hall of Famer and a Heisman Trophy winner, for the Houston Oilers. So I came from a high pedigree, but what I tell everybody is he was an amazing father. And what I needed the most in that time was, even though my family was trying to understand MS, at least I had a father who dropped me off at physical therapy, who was with me kind of every step of the way as best as he could. And for somebody figuring out the learning curve with MS, sometimes it just means that much when people aren't trying to find answers for you or feel like they have to solve the problem for you, as much as they are just kind of there to listen and just be supportive.
Wow.
However we need. And I think that's the role that my father embraced back to me. That was far special than anything football wise or sporting wise in my walk with being diagnosed with MS.
He sounds amazing.
He does. And Tyler, your dad, I love his quote. will you share with everybody what your dad said to you when you were diagnosed with MS? And he said, Tyler.
Hey, a Campbell never quits.
That's right.
You know, and it really went back to life lessons from early stages. And I think that's my encouragement to people, or just to know that I understood with that quote, there are other tough things that happened in my life before MS. And the one thing that I always allowed to go to the next one is just that it didn't say, you know, you can't get mad. It didn't say you can't be upset. It didn't say you cannot cry tears. It didn't say that you can't ask why or be angry. It just said, don't quit. And I look back over tough times in my life and I said, okay, I guess the tough times in my life were actually preparation for walking into multiple sclerosis, not so much to prepare you for everything that comes with it, but just to know that, hey, if I got through that other tough stuff in my life, those other adversities and trials and tribulations that life brought me, somehow, some way, I can figure this out. It may take me longer and it may be very painful in the process, but I figured out other things in my life without quitting. I can figure out MS over time if I just don't give up and quit. And that was special.
That is special. I mean, our audience has to know you don't quit. This is a lifelong disease,
yes.
And everybody's walking in different stages of it. And we, like you said, we can cry, we can have those emotions, and we need to. We're human.
Yeah.
And, but like you said, you came from a strong family, and boy, to have a supportive family to hold your hand and help you get through the early stages helped you probably now to be who you are today.
And that's why what you guys are doing is so special, because here's the realistic view of why what y'all are doing. Not everybody has that support system. Okay. And some of us are in different parts of the country. Some of us are in rural areas trying to battle this disease, figuring out life. Some of us don't have support from family members, or you've tried and it just has not worked cohesively like you've wanted it to. But the beautiful thing is you tune in to Twins Coast to Coast. You listen, you learn, you research, you hear other perspectives. And although you may not have everybody in your corridor like you want them to, because you don't give up or because you didn't quit, you found this podcast and you get these answers that help fulfill a void that you may not be getting personally, maybe even from your doctor or from anybody else. And so kudos to you as a listener to not quitting either. And so we have that in common. You know what I mean? And that's what your listeners are all about. That's what you two ladies stand for on a routine and regular basis. It's not talent. It's not money. It's not gender. It's not color. It is we're warrioring through this thing together, and we're not quitting. Because all of our MS shapes us differently, but we have the unique commonality in the fact that we're just not going to let MS beat us.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, it can't beat us, because if it beats us, then what do we have? Right? We have our families. We have our friends and Tyler and all of our MS warriors. We stand together and we understand each other. And that's the most important thing. And that's why we love you so much, because your warmth and your energy
and inspiration.
Oh, and your inspiration of what you stand for. Yes, is the best ever.
Oh, thank you guys so much. And you know what? And here's the truth, and the truth is, I give it my best, because people always say, well, how are you doing? How are you feeling? You know what, ladies, by 7:00 at night, I'm spent.
Yes.
MS has said, okay, that's enough, Tyler. Like you gave it everything you had. And so I just tell people I fight it. I fight constant fatigue on a routine and regular basis. The pains, you fight those. But then when I listen to people of influence, I have to lean on you guys as well. Yeah. And so what I'm saying is, it's not it's not just our listeners. We all have accountability and have to have other people to lean on, even if we have the platforms that we have. So it's a fight for me every day. And watch this. The crazy thing about our disease is it may have been a fantastic day yesterday, and then you wake up the next day, you can't get out of bed, or the limbs aren't functioning. You can't stand. You're having trouble. And now you're having to reshape work. You're having to say, I can't come in today. You're having to tell your family, your spouse, your kids, hey, mommy, daddy, not feeling too good today. Your kids are saying, but you were fine. Yes. And so those are the things that I battle just like everybody else on a routine and regular basis. We are human.
We are human, and it's so nice to share our stories with others. Just that we all walk this disease in a different way, but we can understand what the fatigue is. And I think it helps our family members. More we share our story, your story, it helps others to understand the chronic disease of multiple sclerosis. Tyler, what inspired you to do what you are doing today as far as being an inspirational speaker and what you do for the MS Society?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. When I was diagnosed in 2007, and I don't encourage anybody to do this, I got the pamphlets out of my doctor's office. I had developed drop foot. I had paralysis down the right side of my body. All my lesions were on the left cortex of my brain, right? So that's why the right side was affected. I'm learning like all of this. I got diagnosed by myself because my family's in California. In athletics, because it wasn't an athletic related injury, I found out everything by myself. I was sent to Scripps Memorial Hospital in La Jolla, California, and I found out all my diagnosis, my spinal taps, my MRIs, all of that. And I did it by myself, and I had to call my mom back in Texas and try to explain and let her talk to doctors. And so very, tough and sad time. All these pamphlets I had, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to Google. I got to find out more about MS. And that was probably the worst thing that you can do is hit Dr. Google. I was 21 years old, and I didn't know any better. I was young, and I was swimming with all this information about MS over here. And so I went there, and it was just horror stories of MS. And at that time, I needed to find a story. I needed somebody's MS story, to just see that they were smiling,
yes,
that they had a family, or that they were continuing doing something that they loved. I needed something to like cling to for hope. I think that's really what I was typing for was somebody to give hope. And I didn't see at that time very many people who looked like me until I found Montel Williams. Yeah. And what I found from Montel Williams, the talk show host, because I'm an 80s baby, a child of the 90s. So I know Maury, I know Ricky Lake, I know Jerry Springer, and I knew obviously Montel Williams, right? And so when I saw Montel, there was a picture of him smiling.
Right.
And he had just finished talking about his coming out with the disease back in 1998. So this would have been 2007. So he's probably like, he's got probably a decade underneath his belt. And so, or close to. And so I saw him smile.
Yes.
And that was good enough for me at 21 years old, a month after my 21st birthday, being diagnosed and everything alone. I saw somebody smile, and I said, I will never allow another Black male to not find a story to cling to, because I know it's going to spread over into our community. I don't want to let them be in the same position I was. And my grandma always said, you got to leave things better than the way you found them, Tyler.
Yes.
Beautiful.
You're as tough as whatever it is that you go through in life. And I was a kid, as tough as whatever you go through in life, your hope should be that somebody else doesn't have to go through what you went through. So as a result, you're supposed to leave things better than the way you found them. That's from my grandmother, Ann Campbell. Oh. And so those are the things that hit. I thought about Grammy. I thought about what she said. And I thought about Montel's smile. And I didn't know it at that time because it took time. And that's why with your disease, please give yourself grace. because this is a long race.
Right.
It's going to be there for a while. So if you don't have all the answers, it's completely okay. So please, no pressure. If you don't have an advocating soul right now, like that is okay. You don't know what to do with your MS. Please don't figure out. Just focus on you, and it's okay. So for me, I thought that thought at 21. It took till I was 24 to find the space and the platform to start talking about my disease. So it took me 3 years, guys.
Yeah.
Yes,
3
you were
years.
so young, and you don't know much about multiple sclerosis when the doctor says you have that diagnosis. So that is pretty good. I mean, 3 years is a long time, but you're so young at 24.
21 to be
21 to be diagnosed, and
right.
24 to accept the disease and share your story.
But how
fantastic.
wonderful. Everybody needs a Grammy in life. We had a Grammy, and my word, our Grammy is everything, right? And how blessed, because they do know with that age on them. They always would say, right here we are, these crazy young kids thinking we know everything. And they would say, young ladies, my Grammy would say, I think I know a little bit more than you do. I've lived a little bit longer. Well, now here we are. We've lived life a little bit longer. And you do find that out. But to have your Grammy and your dad and Montel and all these people to look up to get you through to that point, how wonderful. And
absolutely.
Social media, we have been able to form these communities to have young folks or folks maybe diagnosed later in life. They find us and they can talk to us, and wow, does that make a difference?
That's the beauty, and so that's the beautiful thing, because in 2007 there weren't these outlets, and so that's why every single show, every single guest, every single conversation, every single episode is so powerful, because you are relinquishing information.
Yeah.
You are granting people a platform, and you give them permission to come on and be in this safe space and deliver their full authenticity. And that's why every person's story, like what you said earlier, Tamara, was the fact that when you get to that place of being whole and loving and valuing yourself and accepting, and I don't mean accepting in a bad thing, but it's not necessarily denying that MS exists within you. And when you get to that place and you can speak comfortably about it, it is so empowering for yourself. And every single word that you speak, every single slurred word that you have, because sometimes your tongue sticks or sometimes the right side of your face isn't, all of that speaks to us. That's us. And every moment that you share helps somebody who's newly diagnosed or has been living with this disease or does not have the resources, does not have the family, does not have the finances, because Lord knows insurance and co-pays is just a nightmare. But they have you.
Yes.
And you deliver hope. Watch this. Like Montel delivered to a person who he's never met a day in his life, probably never meet, and probably never would have thought a smile in an old photograph from the 90s would have helped somebody in California, San Diego, 2007, newly diagnosed, searching and clinging for something, and a picture of a smile. Didn't no verbal communication, no text message, no speech on YouTube. It was something as simple as a smile.
Wow.
And that's
you live each day for the greatest day of your life, and you do things now, if not now, when, and we share our story to help others. Tell us a little bit about your radio show, Tyler, that you do.
Yeah, like I said, complete accident. And it was so being open also to the trajectory that MS was taking me on, because it's a different trajectory. This isn't what I envisioned. I'm introverted by nature. I love comic books. I love J.R. Tolkien. I love C.S. Lewis. I love like literature and science. I'm my own little introverted nerd. I just so happen to play football.
Right.
Okay. So speaking was not in my arsenal, but the greatest gift that San Diego State gave me was taking a speech class as a senior. I waited to my senior year in business management classes to take freshman speech because I was terrified. And so, but when I did it, I felt comfortable. And so when MS came, and the MS Society gave me that platform to share my story when I was 24, it opened me up to a world of seeing you could be a difference maker, to seeing you could help, most importantly, and serve. And you can do that even if you're not holding a football anymore. You can make an impact in the world by helping and serving other people without scoring a touchdown. And so when I started to accept that new dream, or I always grew up wanting to make an impact, but I thought it could only be done through football. And then so life put me on a different trajectory with MS, and I was open to it, and I accepted it and I welcomed it. And when I did that, other doors just started opening. And so the radio show in Austin, it was a complete accident. I'm on a radio station that's all sports. And if you listen to my show, I don't talk about sports. So it's called Real Life, Real Talk. And I don't talk about sports. And it's the number one show on Saturdays.
Yes, it is.
From 12 to 1 p.m. The audience knows Central Time. I know, isn't that wild that here you are on a show, number one sports show channel, and here you go talking about real life motivation and inspiration of one another. You're just there to have a conversation about real life.
And they found me when I was speaking about my multiple sclerosis diagnosis within the Austin community, and somebody from the radio station was there, and a spot was opening up that weekend, and they needed somebody to fill in, and so they called me, and I said, okay, I can. I've never done radio before. I've never done this before, but I'll be open to it if it helps. And so what did I do? I got on air and I gave my story of being diagnosed with MS, because if I have a platform, I'm going to share it with my heart, which is the multiple sclerosis community. And if I only get one show, I'll make my one show about my diagnosis, so it gives people a window seat as to what multiple sclerosis is. And then they said, come back again and come back again and come back again. Well, we're just going to keep you on here. We know you don't talk about sports, but something's working. And I think that's where you just give yourself grace and time and just be open to the trajectory of that life has you on. It may be different than what you wanted and desired. But I wouldn't be talking to you guys if it wasn't for MS. And so I don't like this disease. I am not a fan of it. But I'm also going to seep through and try to find whatever little positive I can cling to each and every day. And so for today, July the 9th, 2022, my positive for the day is that MS granted me the opportunity to talk to two women who I followed for such an incredible amount of my life, and appreciate the knowledge and wisdom that you guys embark on our community. And this is my win for the day. This is my win for today with MS.
Oh, Tyler,
that's so lovely. And that is why people want to listen to you. It's from the heart. It's not because you have to. It's because you want to. And it's a gift that you are giving people out there, whether they're living with MS or not. People are going through all kinds of things, and you're giving them joy and light and love for the day. And you're giving them that love and a big hug, because I hear you, and you're giving people hugs through the radio and podcasts all the time.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. And then here's the deal. My hope, and I know it's for you guys when you have your listeners who listen to your show, is that they take what you give and then they build on it. They make it even bigger. They reach even more people, their family, their friends, wherever. That's in essence what you're hoping for. That's what you're wanting. And it's that They take from whatever it is that you gave and they make it even bigger. They take the platform even further. They go even farther than you could have ever imagined for yourself, or even that's all my hope is that, you know, because there was a time when you brought up MS, and I know you guys know this, battling it for as long as you have, where people were just like, what is that? And that it's there still. But I feel like we're making trajectory into a place where there are also more and more people who are familiar with it than at least they were when I was diagnosed. And I know it's even more better than when you all started battling this disease. And that's, you know, that's progress.
Oh, it's so much progress. So Tyler, tell us a little bit about how your family, now that you're this wonderful motivational speaker, and I know they're so proud of you, but how do they deal with the disease? Because I know, I'm sure you've had talks with them. How are they doing with multiple sclerosis with you?
Yeah. So I've been blessed. I have an amazing wife. Her name is Shayna. You know, we've been married, you know, it'll be 11 years in September. And I think, you know, you get into a mode as a parent or as a husband and wife, where your spouse knows you. And my wife has been on the MS journey since I was in college, and we were just friends. Right. So she's known it. She's seen it. She's seen me in the hospital when we were just friends. So she knows MS, right. And has known it for well over a decade. The task is when you start to have children, and then you're battling your disease, and then you can't do the things that you normally would like to do with those bad days. Because normally when there's bad days, you just have to tell your spouse knows. But then when you have to educate young children, because I believe that with MS, I don't want to hide anything from my babies. The bad days, they need to see the bad days. The good days are easier to count, but those tough days, when daddy can't get out of bed, when daddy's not walking right, when daddy is in pain, when daddy has to go to the hospital because he's relapsing. Okay. I told my wife, they have to be a part of it.
Yes.
I need my family to see it, and I know it's going to kill them. I know they're going to be sad. I know they're going to be worried out of their mind, but I need them to see what this disease is, not only for the betterment of our family, but so they can be empathetic, not sympathetic, but empathetic, and be able to put themselves in somebody else's shoes. Because the way MS is going now, there are more families affected: white, black, brown, green, yellow, purple. And so when they encounter somebody whose family member is affected with MS, they can empathize with that person who's their age, or that adult who maybe heard the conversation, that teacher in elementary school who may have they can empathize, because their dad has to go through it. And that's the educational part of it that comes into the fold, because what people may think they know about MS, if I don't educate my family the right way, it will sway their thinking, and they'll go back to Tyler, Dr. Google, in 2000. And then there's a bad image of what MS is. And then that hurts somebody else they'll encounter in their life, because they don't understand the good and the bad, or the fullness of what MS is. And I was in the hospital a couple weeks back, ladies, for what ended up actually being a pseudo relapse. So no new lesions, but all the symptoms came. And my wife, my son, my two daughters, a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, and my wife, we all went to my neurologist appointment when I got out of the hospital. We all went, because I need my kids and my family to be a part of the conversation. They have to.
Beautiful. That is, and you are doing the right thing by bringing the family together. Tamara and I have done the same thing.
Wow.
You girls, so proud of them. We have right now, we have a 23, 24, 25, and 27-year-old.
Oh, I love it.
I know.
Love it.
And I have the baby, and Tamara has 2 in the middle. All girls, so girls rock. And I can tell you, we did the same thing. And they are lovely, empathetic young ladies. 2 of them are nurse practitioners.
Oh, there you go.
I believe that pathway, they saw us growing up, and that's they had a heart and a calling for that. So you're doing the right thing by raising your children and bringing them in and let them understand what daddy's going through. And I'm sorry you had a pseudo relapse 2 weeks ago.
Hey, and that's just me being vulnerable and transparent. I let people know what I fight this every day. And to be honest, ladies, when it came to the doctor in the appointment standpoint, it came also because I'm gonna be honest, ladies, there's some questions to MS I don't have answers for.
That's
right.
And
there were times when I felt bad because maybe I'm not articulating it right to my family or friends. Maybe I'm missing out. They went to and they heard this from somebody else and heard that about MS. And so I noticed that if I can bring whoever I can to the doctor's office, or even these, if you have the internet appointments, because you can't go to the doctor, when other people are present, the doctor can take the pressure off of you and emit that level of education. And so you don't have to feel stressed as much, because we gotta eliminate that as much as we can. We know that. So I noticed that the stress of MS came off of me too. Great. When I bought the family and asked the doctor can you answer this? And in that way, you don't have to repeat. You don't have to feel like you're miseducating, and you don't have to walk away from somebody asking something feeling bad because you feel like you didn't direct it the right way. And that helps you too. That helps you too.
That's beautiful. Oh, I love that. Really, really precious. So we always ask our friends that we talk to. Tamara and I always talk about our happy places.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably hear us a lot talking
yes.
about that. So you can have many happy places. It doesn't have to just be one. It can be a physical place. It could be an emotional place. But we like to ask you, Tyler, what is your happy place?
So my happy place has always been the same since I was a child. And it didn't change even when MS came into the picture. Whenever I grew up on horses, and I love them because they're such great judges of character, and they're like big dogs.
Yeah,
I tell people. But so for me, my happy place is sitting on top of a horse, riding as the sun is going down or as it's coming up. And I'm riding through the pasture with grass and tall Texas pecan trees and tall pine trees, and my soul and my spirit is at peace. And that's my happy place. And when my wife knows, I tell my wife, I say, hey, I gotta go ride horses. Because I think she knows, and my kids know, when daddy goes and rides horses, daddy comes back a different person. Daddy comes back getting his selfish need for something that, if he gets that, it helps us, because daddy will feel better about himself. And it just so happens that even when I was in a wheelchair, even when I lost muscular functioning or limb functioning, the crazy thing is I didn't know that getting on a horse was actually a form of therapy for me. And so that's why I tell everybody to always look back over your life. And there's a reason why I fell in love with horses as a little kid when my brother didn't. I fell in love with horses because they were going to have to come back to me to help me therapeutically in a time when nothing else worked. A horse gave me a lot back. And so it's just that I tell people all the time, don't hesitate to look back over your life for a lot of things. And certain pieces were placed so the puzzle could come together, or is still in the process of coming together at different parts of our life. So that's my happy place, ladies. It's riding Sweet Tea. Sweet Tea is my horse. And so
Sweet tea.
I love that. The Texas sweet tea.
Yeah.
I think that's precious. And
Yeah.
nothing like Texas. Tamara lived in Austin for a short time, and there's
Oh, wow. I didn't know
love
that, Tamara. I did
Austin.
not know that.
Absolutely. 20 years ago, absolutely love Austin. It
Oh
does.
my
It's the
God.
California city of Texas.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Tamara, I
Well,
saw you. You saw me 20 years ago and didn't even know it.
no,
We
absolutely.
passed each other somewhere off of Lady Bird Lake or driving down 35 or Mopac and didn't even know it, Tamara.
You know it. You know it. So,
Oh, and
well,
Tammy's
it's
a
just
California girl too. Through.
There you go.
I know.
well, thank you so much for sharing your story, Tyler. You are an inspiration. We'd love for everybody, we'll put in our show notes below your radio show and how they can get involved and listen to your wonderful words. And it's just been a pleasure today to speak with you on their podcast.
Oh God, this is like you said, whenever you can read other MS warriors, and you guys have been on this journey for all this time. And my biggest thing is I know I'm speaking to two amazing women who have smiled throughout the whole course of this program. Tamara, I know I can't see you, but you're smiling, honey. I know
Yes,
it. I can feel it through it. So
yes. Oh, it is a pleasure. And I'll tell you, it has been such a joy. And we love you. This is just the beginnings of many, many years of a lovely friendship.
absolutely.
Thanks for listening to Mirror Image MS Madness, where we share the good, the bad, and the funny. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at TwinsCoast2Coast. That's TwinsCoast, the number 2 coast. You can also email us at TwinsCoast2Coast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Stay tuned to our next episode. We release our dates on Instagram, so follow us there for updates. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to find your happy place, and we will see you in the next one. Mwah.